Franklin Scarf, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Adrian, for thanking me, and I'm glad to be here doing this.
Franklin, your occupation is to deliver the philosophy of the Earth Repair Foundation to the world, and your mood is that you, like many others, think that the world's in a bit of strife, and you've been developing a methodology where human beings can participate actively. Would you like to explain to our viewers a little bit about the Earth Repair Foundation and its philosophy?
Certainly. Well, Earth Repair Foundation has been officially registered or incorporated since 1987, and since then, and even prior to then, we engaged ourselves in some fairly in-depth research in a variety of areas, and through collaboration and much communication and cooperation between various co-facilitators, we created a document called the Earth Repair Charter Global Solutions Strategy, which progressively became endorsed by a great number of people with some very powerful supportive endorsements. And the document itself is made up of what I and our group considers to be self-evident, feasible and achievable solutions without necessarily stating the problem. It's a classic document, and it's like the manifesto for the Earth Repair Foundation. It contains all of the goals that we're seeking to achieve during our lifetime. The charter can be seen on our website at any time. That's at earthrepair.net, simple name, and it's ever open to further refinement and advancement. So we're always inviting more intelligence input into what we do. Now, the charter is like the summary of all of the solutions that we're questing to contribute to, and within the charter, each goal has a separate campaign that has been cultivated and exists now in quite advanced form. We've taken a fairly slow and organic approach, I like to call it, in relation to bringing these definitions and these areas of research to where they are now, even though there have been pressures to make money, to do it quicker because the need is great. But in the compiling of these solutions and related documents, we've involved at the highest level negotiable other groups like the United Nations through the local UN associations. We're directly linked with the UN Association of Australia, primarily through the New South Wales branch, and here in Katoomba is the Blue Mountains branch of the UNAA. We've also closely aligned with the permaculture group of the Blue Mountains, and one of our commitments is to promote or accentuate the importance of permaculture to end hunger and unemployment eventually. We're big believers in this wonderful Australian innovation that's been around for 30 or 40 years or so now, and it's been growing and spreading to all parts of the world, and groups are picking it up and learning how to do it, and they're turning deserts green and learning how to harvest water and cooperate with the sun, the earth, the wind and the rain, and become self-sustaining. On even a tiny block of land, permaculture can be practiced. But the great thing about permaculture, it's not only what the name implies, permanent plus agriculture is permaculture, but it also comprises renewable energy systems and various other methods and techniques for sustainability. And I applaud them and admire the effort expressed by permaculturists to be so all-inclusive of everything that's going to enable the practitioners to enjoy a sustainable future. Now, I mentioned permaculture, I mentioned the Charter and permaculture, and they're just brief. There are a couple of, well, the permaculture aspect is a small section of the Charter. And look, I have here on the computer a PowerPoint presentation, which is a little dated because I put it together in response to an invitation to participate in a webinar by a group called COPO, which is Creating Our Paradise on Earth, which I believe is an achievable goal.
It sounds like a cousin to the Earth Repair Foundation.
It is indeed. I noticed in doing the webinar that perhaps our contribution or accentuation on the importance of permaculture may have been a fresh addition to the approaches that they're taking. But my personal belief is that paradise is here on earth for those who can see it, can think it, and can live it. And, you know, we're born into existence. It might seem like a big chance that we made it, because when at the time our parents came together and co-conceived us, we were the winner ahead of around 250 million other contenders. So receiving life in the first place was a great achievement. The journey we all went through was just awesome. And every one of us who is living in the world today are winners of that great sperm race, as a wonderful documentary that's available on YouTube is called. Back onto on the PowerPoint presentation, which we created for this webinar, if I could just run through it here. I understand there's a camera on this screen.
Yes.
It starts off by saying the presentation is designed to show some of what the Earth Repair Foundation has so far created towards enabling everyone's participation in creating our paradise on Earth. And here we like to emphasize where the Earth is in our solar system, and we make reference to where it is in the infinite and eternal universe. It's a very small planet compared to many others, and here we are experiencing our human experience while on, I like to think of it as a working holiday, which includes a free annual ride around the sun, an attempt to make light of this marvellous adventure we were all born into, being a human on the planet. So this is one of my favourite images, putting into perspective our relationship with the Earth in comparison to the rest of the universe. And one of my favourite quotes is from a fellow countryman, Khalil Gibran, who said, "The universe is my home and the human family is my tribe. The whole earth is my birthplace and all humans are my brothers and sisters." And subnote there says, remembering that we're all here on beautiful planet Earth now, orbiting the sun as part of the solar system in the Milky Way galaxy in the infinite and eternal universe. First, I'd just like to say thank you, Adrian, for making this possible, this interview, as a first step towards me having an opportunity to explain to a wider audience what the Earth Repair Foundation is about. But I should explain that my glasses, my second last pair of glasses absolutely broke, lost one of the lenses. The ones that I have now, which will help me see small print, and I may be wearing, they have marks here where I've taped the lens back onto the frame. I'll say a little bit more about this a bit later, because we find ourselves in the position where the foundation is in need of assistance. Despite the marvellous, wonderful intellectual property assets that we've co-created with the help of some great contributions by many others over decades, we've come to a point now where our needs are great, and we're presenting this, we're showing what we're doing here in the hope that it might interest and inspire others to lend a hand and help us along or help the foundation grow. But we're already advancing quite excitingly, I think, but haven't pulled it together yet with creating products and exploring into marketing strategies using internet promotions and online trading. But that's all for a little bit further down the track, and in the meantime we're seeking to find volunteers who might help us along that path. So look, just to go back to the PowerPoint again, if I may, and look, very quickly, the reason I mentioned about the glasses is because I feel like I have to squint a little bit to read, so that's an explanation of why I'm doing that. I only lost the glasses yesterday. So there's an image on the screen which shows an AK-47 transforming into an abundant apple tree or food tree, and on the timeline of 2010 to 2020. And our belief is that this transformation can occur in this decade. Although we're more than halfway into the first year of the decade, this work has come to completion and it's more advanced than ever and more solid and ready to be shared out there amongst others in the world. And already that's happening slowly. But the emblem itself is based on an ancient quote that predicted that nations will beat their swords into plowshares and spears into pruning hooks, and neither shall they learn war anymore. So our quest is to promote the learning of conflict resolution skills and permaculture, and how to live long, healthy, happy, peaceful and loving lives. That's our goal. That's what we'd like to see as a result of all the nations of the world transforming their military resources, budgets, personnel and expertise into constructive community advancement activities. Along with that emblem that I just showed, we've made a few others. You can see them here on the screen. We're calling them emblems for peace. The Peace Now one is a great reminder of what already is existing within every one of us. The World Unity and Peace has 24 icons or emblems from that many schools of thought, religions, faiths, philosophies, and we're questing to produce a book where every group will be represented at the highest level that we can motivate, and we're wanting this production to be done under the auspice of the UN itself. So as a local group within the UN Association of New South Wales, we've created a local council for world unity and peace, and part of the campaign of assembling the book and inviting participation by everyone who will be involved, we're lobbying the UN itself to create an international council for world unity and peace. We'd really like to see the differences between the faiths and ideologies revealed or explained in a way that there won't be any opposition, but there'll be understanding and unity. Noting that we all have in common our humanity. We're all in this together, in that we're all residents of planet Earth while it travels in orbit around the sun at almost 108,000 kilometers an hour, while at the same time revolving on its own axis at 1,500 kilometers an hour. And my feeling is that as people take those facts into consideration, their view on their relationship with life in the universe could be slightly altered for the better for everybody.